Hey, what's up? What's going on, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? What's up? Welcome to episode 43. Today, we're going to talk about a rather very serious topic that we're facing, which is the epidemic, specifically the fentanyl epidemic. As you guys know, I don't do this alone. So let me bring in my amazing panel. Let's welcome, let's see who we're going to pull in here first. Let's welcome the first lady to the show. Shay, what's going on?
Woo-hoo.
What's up?
Sleepy.
I know, right? Next, let's welcome Terrell, the man with the plan. What's up, man? What's going on with you?
What's up? It's hump day. I'm happy.
Right.
What's going on?
So, welcome everybody. If you just joined the stream, please, guys, be sure to share this live. What's up, Dance? What's up, Will? What's up, everyone? Be sure to
Hi.
share this live if you on Facebook. If you on YouTube, don't forget to hit the little thumbs up. That means a lot. You have no idea. So of course, Zenova, what's up, man? How you feeling? So of course, we always open up the show with an icebreaker, but I thought it would be rather different, considering that this is Black History Month, and because we are in lieu of Black History Month, Excellence. We don't need 1 month to tell us that we are Black excellence. Black History Month is every day to us. However, they chose the shortest month of the year, and I think it would be beneficial to highlight some of the Black excellence. A lot of the names that you don't oftentimes hear, like we know about the Martin Luther Kings and the Sojourner Truths and the Benjamin Bannekers and Malcolm X, but we want to shed light on some of the inventors and politicians and athletes and just the other amazing people that you don't oftentimes hear from. So, who want to start it off first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I chose Mary Van Britton Brown.
Okay.
And the reason why I chose her is because she invented something that I think we all need this to this day.
Mhm.
We use to this day, and they have used her platform and her base to evolve it. And she created a security system. She was living in Queens, New York. Her husband worked, and the crime level in her area was really, really high. She didn't feel safe. So
Mm.
she designed a system with cameras, microphones to be able to unlock her door if she needed to, and also to contact the police, if any activity was suspicious. So back in this time, this is 1966, that she has created such a invention, that we're still using today, and it's necessary today to protect our property, to protect our families, and to just overall for our safety. So I wanted to highlight this Black queen because this invention is continuing to grow and to be a blessing to so many. So I wanted to give a shout out to her. So if you don't know where your security system originated from, it was from a Black queen. So shout
Hey,
out to her and her family and her invention.
and I would like to put up her picture. This is Mrs. Mary Van Britton Brown. We salute you, Queen. Who want to go next? You want me to go? Shay, you want to
I'll
go?
go. I'll go.
Take it away.
So I am going with Frances Thompson. She's a transgender advocate from the year of 1840 through 1876. Although born into slavery in Alabama and assigned male at birth, by the age of 26, Frances Thompson was freed and living according to her own gender identity in
Mm.
the booming Black community in Memphis, Tennessee.
Wow.
She kept her face clean shaved, wore bright colored dresses, and took in washing for pay. Then, during the deadly Memphis riot in 1866,
Hmm.
Miss Thompson and her roommate, a Black woman, was brutally robbed and gang raped by several white men, including two police officers. Thompson and the other assaulted women boldly testified at a committee hearing held by the U.S. Congress, and she stated that she and her roommate did not consent. Her testimony became infamous throughout the South and led to 10 years of persecution for her gender identity, harassment, accusations, including claims that she ran a brothel. Thompson was jailed in 1876 for cross dressing and later died that year. But Gross and Berry noted in their books that even though behind bars, she suffered, but she never lost her fight, answering rude questions about her gender by responding, "None of your damn business." So,
Well, so that's real. So you mean to tell me that transgender, like they were back? I would have never thought
I
that they
thought this was a really cool story too.
I almost chose
Yeah.
that one actually.
in the 18
Really?
in the
Yeah,
1800s.
I almost chose it.
Back in the 1800s. Wow, who would have thought that? Wow, so I learned something. So on to me. Oh, so let me show you Frances Thompson. And so she was
It's
a
actually a man that was born a man, but identified as a woman later at her, what, she was 26.
wow. So
Yep.
so the person that I chose today was inventor Alexander Miles. And the reason I chose this person is because I thought what he invented was really, really important. And it just goes to show you like how excellent we are in our craft. So, of course, in 1854, the elevator was invented by Elisha Otis, which he was a white man who created the elevator. So the elevator was first invented was a box where they had elevator men who used to pull the cords down, and the doors were open, but the doors that was on the elevator wasn't safe. And so this young inventor who created he so what he did was he created the automatic doors on the elevator. So when you press a button and those doors go close and shut, he created that. And he created that because one, he wanted something that was safe, and something two that didn't take a lot of manual work. Back then it took a lot of men to pull and do all of that stuff to close the doors, and the doors wasn't safe. So even though he did not create the elevator, he helped add to the elevator. So when you guys go in and out of an elevator, you can thank this man, Mr. Inventor Alexander Miles. So with you, King. So we hope that you guys learned something from our little history lesson today. And so now we would jump into our topic, episode 43, the fentanyl epidemic, addiction versus sobriety. Um, I don't know if you guys had any encounters or lost anyone close to the drug epidemic. Have you guys lost anybody or know anyone close to you that lost anyone?
Yeah, well, yeah, my brother, because he ended up passing away because he was an alcoholic.
Mm,
So after he tried to get off of it, it's almost like once you drink so long, it's
hmm
like trying to get off of I guess it's like heroin or something. You go through withdrawals, and his body was so used to having alcohol in it that it caused him to have seizures when
mm.
he stopped drinking, and he ended up having multiple seizures and passing out at his home by himself, and that's what caused him to pass away.
Wow.
Yep.
Um, it hit close to home for me. And it's interesting you said something about the seizures. I lost my sister in 2019 from a drug overdose. And the following year, I lost my 26-year-old niece to a drug overdose.
Hmm.
Um, both different types of drugs. And you know, for my sister, it was a long battle for her, and she was desperately trying, to get help and help herself and do things. And we're gonna dive deep today about abuse versus addiction, because I thought it was the same, but it's not. And so she tried and tried and tried, and she did. She was off for a long time, and again, once she got off the drugs, she started suffering seizures. It's almost like the drugs made them healthier, and as soon as they get off the drugs, they start having all these things. But what actually happened, the drugs hide, mask
Mm-hmm.
everything that all your ailments. The drug
Mm-hmm.
mask because you don't
Yep.
allow your body to even go through nothing because it's your
Yeah.
body's constantly under a substance. And so when she passed away, it was a huge blow to us because unbeknownst to us, we didn't know that like she had actually started back. There was hearsay, but we didn't know. And fast forward a year later, my 26-year-old niece, um, from what we are told and what we know, her and her boyfriend just at the hotel partying. Partying is not the term that we used to use back in the day. Partying to us back in the day meant having fun, but now partying mean uh, nothing. It's drugs associated with it. So, yeah, they was doing some illegal substance, and both of them OD, but she didn't survive, and she was 26. So
Mm.
it's yeah, it was really really telling. What about you, Terrell? Do you know anyone
I
or
I don't. I do know some people that struggle with drug abuse, but I haven't lost anyone close. Um, you know, I just I don't know, because I know some distant friends and coworkers that I know that seem to struggle with that,
Mhm.
and I've seen the deterioration of their body, but I haven't lost anyone. Fortunately, I haven't um lost anyone to the epidemic.
so
Good for
why is it?
you.
Yeah, that's really good. Um, Back in the day, I remember people being on drugs for years, right?
Hmm.
And it seemed like nothing ever happened. Like, I mean, you heard of people dying from drugs, but not often. Now it's bam, bam, bam. Everybody is dying from it. Why
Yeah.
is it you think back in the day, I feel like it tackled our older population, like our aunts and our parents and things like that. Well, now
Hmm.
it's reversed, where it's really affecting our young kids. I'm talking
Yeah.
about from the age of 15 to 30. Why
Yeah.
is it that so? Why do you guys think there's so many people like succumbing to this epidemic?
I think one of the things now is that a lot of people don't realize what's in their drugs.
Hmm.
A lot of people, like, when it comes down to fentanyl, there's no way to know that it's in there.
Hmm.
You can get some weed, and you won't know that it's in there unless you test your drugs. So honestly, you just have to be very cautious of where you get your drugs, and just prayerful, to be honest, because you just never know.
You
You
never
never
know.
know. And I'm not a person that use drugs. I have tried weed and edibles and things like that, and it's just something that's just not for me.
Hmm.
um I remember I had an edible and I took one, and I guess you're supposed to take a piece of it just because of how strong it is. And when I tell you, it was such a bizarre feeling, to the point where I was like, damn, did I just destroy my brain? Like, I literally felt like I was falling through the floor. I felt like people was falling out of the TV. Like, I'm like, how did I get in this room? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like freaking out. And I'm telling you, it scared me, like, to the point where I ain't never want to do nothing nowhere remotely close to that
Right.
ever again.
Hmm.
So for people that do it recreationally, like, it's just so bizarre to me of what they're experiencing and what they're chasing, because I ran away,
Yeah.
and I didn't run towards it, so um for me, I just think some people may not know what's in their drugs, and then they get hooked on something that, and start chasing something that they didn't even ask for in the beginning. They just wanted a simple, some weed, and end up getting something else. And it's dangerous, even in small amounts, to get fentanyl inside of, your drugs. And according to the CDC, over 150 people die each day
Yep.
with
That is
fentanyl.
true.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, that's a big number, a huge number.
Mm. So
I
so
stopped doing Uber because I end up Uber Eats. I stopped asking what is it ordering Uber Eats because I was afraid that it's gonna get to a point, and I know it is, that somebody is gonna put fentanyl in somebody's food
mm,
as a joke, as a somebody out here just weirdo doing it. And it was like my girlfriend and I, we ordered pizza one night, and the guy who delivered our pizza, I don't know, when we looked on the camera, I never go to the door. I always say, hey, leave it on my porch, and I'll go pick it up after they walk off. And I just got this eerie feeling. And I didn't say anything to her. I ate the pizza, I prayed or whatever. But the next day, I was driving home from work, and I'm like, I got this really weird feeling last night when we ordered the food and the guy dropped our food off. I was like, I'm deleting Uber Eats. I don't want to do it anymore. And I was like, I felt like it's gonna come to a point where people are gonna start putting that in people's food. And she was like, that is so weird you said that because I felt the exact same feeling. She was like, I wanted to say something so bad, but I didn't want you to think I was being weird. I was like, it freaked me out. To the first of all, it freaked me out that she even thought about that. But she was like, I thought about fentanyl too, because you can't smell it and you can't taste it. So you won't know it's there. It has no smell, it has no taste, it has nothing. So I don't do Uber Eats anymore. I just don't trust it.
well, you about to actually. I just did a Uber Grubhub thing today, and it was for pizza. And I didn't think that people are putting, what intentionally do
Just
things.
weird. Yeah.
I mean, I can remember back in the day, people were putting razor blades in Halloween candy and all kind of stuff in Halloween candy. It's like, why would you do that? So you might be onto something. Um, my thing going through and dealing, well, go back to the comments. Um, Dad said depression, loneliness, heartbreak is some of the things that contribute to drug abuse. Derek said you can taste fentanyl; it has a sweet taste.
So when they did a special, CNC or CBC or CNN or whatever, they
Hmm.
said that fentanyl does not have a taste. Now, I've never tasted it. If he's tasted it, then obviously he would know more than I would. But, I've never tasted it. I've only heard, read stories, and they did a special on it, and they said you can't taste it, you can't smell it. But maybe he knows something I don't, maybe he knows something they don't know.
I know that they and it was a story like it was some cops that pulled over this guy who had fentanyl in the trunk, and they said it was
Hmm.
so strong that it actually knocked out the lady officer. It was so strong because she consumed it and then smelled it that it brought her down to her knees, and she almost died just from the smell that hit her. You know what I mean? And so I don't know if it's odorless, but I think I did hear that it didn't have a particular taste. But
Yeah.
that's interesting. You said that there because maybe that can be something if they taste something or smoke something and it has a sweet taste that normally weed or whatever don't have that. Then hey, that's a sign of saying hey, maybe it's something in there. I'm too.
So
Um,
I just Googled it. It says fentanyl cannot be detected by sight, taste, or smell.
mm,
It is important to always practice overdose prevention.
mm,
So I don't know. Again, maybe it's a different fentanyl he's talking about. I don't know, but I know when they did the special on CNN, they said that you can't smell it, you can't taste it. It has no taste and it has no smell. So I don't know.
so so my thing is, I think when it comes to what I've learned with dealing with people with drugs. So let me first say that there's a difference between and a big distinction between drug abuse and drug addiction, which I thought it was a word that was used interchangeably. So what it says is that drug abuse, which means that so you have the ones that look like drug users and the ones that don't. So the ones that are like functional drug addicts are people that they deem to be suffering from drug abuse. So you can still look apart, but you have mood swings, um, erratic behaviors, and stuff like that. When it comes to drug addiction, it states that drug addiction is a chronic disease that is incredibly difficult to control. So those are the people that you see on the streets that you know that that look disheveled,
Hmm.
that's talking to themselves. At that point, it becomes a disease.
Okay.
And so I was like, wow, that's very interesting because I would have correlated the two together, but it makes sense because just looking at the stages of some of the people that I personally knew that was on drugs and stuff, there were some that you can clearly tell and some that you cannot tell.
Yeah.
But if you watch,
Yeah.
if you kind of pay attention to the behaviors, you would be like, But looking at them, they were still together, so you can never guess or anything like that. Derek said, "Yes, I recently just lost someone, and maybe it's the cut that they put on it to enhance the level in toxic." Wow,
Okay.
wow, that's sad.
I
Um,
can't see the comments, so I'm gonna have to transfer to my computer because this phone I can't see any comments on it,
well, I'll
and
just
I want to be
up here.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll just make sure I put the comments up here. Um, so yeah, so that's really interesting. Because I remember someone else dying in a club for someone put fentanyl in someone's drink, and the two ladies died at a club here. It was some years ago, but yeah, you just gotta
Yeah.
be a little more careful.
And
So
sometimes the people who you're getting your drugs from too, that's another thing. Like if I'm a drug dealer or whatever, and I'm buying my drugs from somebody and then I'm selling my drugs to you, sometimes I don't even know that they've laced my drugs that I'm selling to you with fentanyl or whatever they're lacing it with. So it doesn't even matter if you're cool with your weed man or whatever you're getting. Sometimes it's who they're buying it from that's just shady ass people. So just don't do no drugs, okay?
And then it's like just being responsible. It's like smoking with anybody and everybody. You never know if somebody has a vendetta against someone, you know what I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah.
and lace their drugs. It's just, and it's crazy because it's like before I experimented with weed and stuff like that, I went years without even, without being interested, you know what I mean? And it just became like a moment where, we were hanging out and I didn't want to kind of be like the Debbie Downer and not trying to, chill and vibe with everybody. So I was like, yeah, why not? You know what I'm saying? And that experience wasn't bad. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. But when I had that edible experience, I said, you know what? This ain't for me. This ain't for me. I stick with, having a drink every once in a while. But even that, like, I don't like anything that kind of takes me out of myself. You know what I mean? I can have a good time without, being underneath the influence of anything. But yeah.
so why is it so many young people? I think this younger generation is so experimental.
Hmm.
Like even some of the things that I was just watching a special on the news, and they was telling parents, before you can look under the bed, you can look in places that people will probably hide stuff, but they were saying that people actually take the chapstick out, and they had their drugs in there, pills or
Yeah.
whatever. They take the markers and they take the stuff out and put in the markers, like
Yeah.
places that you wouldn't even think that people would do that. You know, they are housing and stuff, and I just think that people are just so experimental nowadays, and it's really sad because a lot of these young people don't know what they getting themselves into because
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
and the sad thing about the drugs, people have addictive personalities,
Definitely.
and that was one of the things that made me not. I've never smoked weed, I never did drugs and stuff, but it was one of the things because I saw uh people in my family. I just
Yeah.
saw the way that it did them, and I don't like having nothing to take control over me. Even if I drink too much and get tipsy and stuff like that,
Yeah.
it's to a point where I can't control myself. It's like I don't like nothing to consume me like that. But I think it's really, really a scary time because, you got the young people who are snorting, the aerosol stuff from
Yeah.
like when you clean the keyboard, all of that stuff is locked up. If you go to a supply place, a lot of those aerosol
Airsoft cans.
are locked up
Yeah.
because you can get high from it.
Y'all notice though, like growing up, we had more programs that talked about don't do drugs,
There, yeah.
read a book. Now you don't really see that. It's kind of like promoted like it's cool to do drugs. And I feel like that's the reason why we're seeing more of kids just
Drugs, yeah.
interested in it, doing it. They see their parents doing it. It's peer pressure. Kids. I mean, I just feel like kids are more experimental because it's marketed as a cool thing to do. You know what I mean? It's not frowned upon. You know what I mean? It's literally we, especially smoking weed. Weed is not
Yeah, I
frowned
was going
upon
to
at
say it's
all.
legal.
It's legal, so
So,
therefore it's kind of like you know. I just feel like those programs worked to a degree. You know, educating them on what drugs can do. Like I remember showing us what heroin does to your teeth. Like that scared the shit out of half of the class. You know what I mean? Like nobody was like, I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like I don't want my mouth
yeah.
looking like that. So it's like, just educating and having those programs, trying to direct them away from drugs
Hmm.
into, other things. And I think it's a health thing too, understanding what it does to the body over time, just smoking in general, how bad it is to smoke in general, what it does to your lungs, and health issues and health problems that you can have, down the line with doing those type of drugs. But have you guys seen that movie? Kind of like how you were talking about earlier, Kevin, when you said how people stopped doing the drugs and then all of a sudden it seemed like the drugs was helping them function regular
Yeah.
in their day-to-day operation. There was a movie that Denzel Washington did called Flight, and it was basically he was a pilot, and he did coke, he did all of these different drugs, and he did it right before a flight. He went on this flight, and they end up hitting some weather turbulence, and something went wrong with the plane, and he landed the plane, and there were survivors. And what they did was is they tried to sober him up because anytime after an incident like that, you're drug testing regardless, right?
Hmm.
And so they were trying to sober him up. They put a bunch of different other pilots that were sober in the simulation of this plane incident. None of them were able to land this plane successfully
Oh,
with
yeah.
survivors,
Hmm.
and he was able to do that. He was the only person that was able to do that underneath the influence. And he's like, I'm an alcoholic, I do drugs, and this is how I function. And he was better high. And it just was crazy that these drugs heightened his senses
Awareness.
and his
Hmm.
awareness,
Hmm.
and he was able to do something that
I'm gonna
people
write
even
that
sober
down.
wasn't able to do. That was a good movie, but
I
Flight
remember
was
seeing that.
interesting.
I remember
Flight
seeing
was
that when you
interesting.
said that. Yeah. But
Hmm.
another thing to go back on to what you said that, it used to be frowned up on to do drugs and things like that. I recall a friend of mine's telling me that buying Coke was a social thing to do.
Yes.
It's a social thing. And smoking it or shooting it, however they do it. And I was like, what? And they've normalized, Coke is a rich man's drug. Is that cocaine? Cocaine's a rich man's drug. Is that what it is?
Yeah, because crack
So,
is black.
okay. So cocaine has become this thing where it's like a status. If you're smoking, or shooting it or whatever, cocaine, it's like, okay, you a rich man or a rich woman, or you're classified as these type of people. It has become normal. People have normalized it. So of course you're not gonna see don't smoke weed in the ghetto,
Hmm. Yeah,
because who's gonna pay for that advertisement? It's
right.
continuously it's decreasing our black men and our black children from being able to be a part of society that
Hmm.
can actually be something. So I'm going to
Yeah.
keep you captive over here, and I'm going to make it look like it's cool, and I'm going to put all of the what do you call it, Jimmy Johns in the hood, or
Yeah.
Jimmy Chew, whatever his name is, the Gene and the Foot Lockers. I mean, we got a ton of Foot Lockers in the hood now. They stand
Hmm.
in line for hours and days to get Jordans, and they go
Yeah.
to these Jimmy places to get clothes, and they got the weed, and they got a liquor store on every
Every
freaking
corner.
corner. But
Yeah.
you gotta wait in the ER for 14 hours, even when it's not COVID.
Yeah.
It's like we have to look at the reality is they have brainwashed our society to believe that cocaine, heroin, all those things
Yeah.
is okay. And another reason why we are suffering so bad than everybody else is because our families do not invest as much in our people as
Yeah.
white people invest in their families.
Yeah.
And
When
that,
I tell you, they will get Uncle Ray Ray and Uncle Tom Tom from the farm down in Alabama to fly all the way to Alaska to have a family intervention to get you to go to a rehab. They will
Hmm.
do that for 40 hours straight. Us?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that shit. That nigga shouldn't have been smoking. He's drunk out on drugs. He lost his house. That's
Yeah.
his problem. It
Yeah.
ain't mine. He knew
And Derek
better. And that's how it goes.
and Derek
So,
said something too. He said generational curses, and a lot of people are suffering needs counseling. And it's crazy because I've asked a lot of people like, why do you smoke or why do you do drugs? And a lot of them say because it numbs me.
well,
And it's like they literally are running away from whatever it is that they're dealing with, that they don't want to face, that they don't want to like address to heal from. And it's like when you come down off of that high, you're just gonna have to do it again
yeah.
just to get away from it. You know
it,
what I mean? And
yeah,
I think we have to start having those conversations of healing. Like healing is a real thing and it's necessary, in all of our lives to literally face the things that hurt us the most. And that's the only way that we're really going to be able to live a full life and really, be able to be 100%. You know what I'm saying? Because you can really never be 100% if you never deal with the things that's keeping you down, that are kind of keeping you in bondage in a sense. So I totally agree with, counseling is something that I most definitely think that a lot of us need to do, especially, us as men. I feel like we kind of lock a lot of things in because we don't feel like we have the space to kind of be vulnerable and to talk about the things that's breaking us down in the inside.
hmm
And we kind of run to, those substances, whether it's a drink or a blunt, and those kind of things. So, I encourage counseling and talking to people and opening up whatever you need to do to heal, but not band-aiding. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at running to substance as a band-aid. It's not long term. It's not going to really give you the healing that I think we all need.
no, it's actually going to put you in a worse situation. And just to piggyback off what you said, back in the day, it was very frowned upon. Somebody say your mama on crack, and that was something big.
Hell
Hmm.
yeah.
Now you say, "Oh, we going to turn up and party." It's like, okay, I've been to so many bars and clubs, and not just here, all over. And people just going to the bathroom and doing coke. Well,
Yeah.
to me, it scared me because it's like, oh dang, but people just doing willy nilly. You walk in there, you want something? No, I'm fine.
They don't hide it.
You know
It's
they
At
out in the
all.
open.
they and
At
they
Yeah.
all.
and then now they make like a lot of these synthetic drugs, like cartoon characters, Batman and Superman. So what it does, it attracts the kids. I mean, it attracts people because it looks like something that maybe shaped like an ice cream cone, or it's shaped like this. So what they're doing is really pulling you in because rappers talk about turning up and drinking on scissor and
No, what's the other one they drink?
scissor.
No, it's
Oh,
another
lean,
name.
lean, lean.
Lean. Yes, yes.
You know,
Future talks about that a lot.
and Lil
Yeah.
Wayne, he passed out before.
Yeah.
Oh
He-
wow.
you
And
know,
it's crazy. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I was on my way to work and this guy stopped me and he was trying to ask questions about an apartment. That's the industry that I'm in. And I immediately knew that he was on something because he couldn't form his sentences. Like his thoughts was running into each other. He's trying to ask about our apartment, but he's trying to also tell me about how he wants to play his Xbox and like all these different things. And he looks like he was no older than 20. You know what I mean? And to be out here and out of your mind like that, man, like it was so sad, You know what I mean? Because it's just like nothing you can do in that moment, like to
To
just be
fix it or
like
help.
to
Yeah.
fix it or help. Because even right then and there, it's like they're out of their mind, like they're not able to really comprehend what's going on. And it's just I've been seeing that more recently, like mental illness, whether it's you know drug related or just schizophrenia or bipolar. And it's like we
Mhm.
have to go to the doctor and we have to get the help that we need so we can focus on our mind, making sure that we are healthy. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Because it was just really sad to see that young man like that. I was like, dang, man, you could be like my young brother, like, what I'm saying, my little cousin, like,
Yeah.
what I'm saying. And to see you out here and you know what I'm saying, you trying to get an apartment, but you're trying to tell me about how you want your Xbox to be, on the wall. And I'm just like, man, it's just really, really, really sad, man.
And it's really sad because again, you know, a lot of people turn to drugs because of uh unhealed things that happen to them. And I think our community, we have to do better with and I think we have done a better job as with therapy and counseling versus back in the day. Back in the day, it was embarrassing to have someone in drugs. So what you would do is kind of hide them, or or whatever, keep them from coming around. Now I think people are more being more open to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They
Understanding
are.
it and trying to help people. But we really have to like things that we're going through and battling. We have to tackle that. We can't do it alone.
Yeah.
If you're going through something, drugs only makes it worse. Once
Hmm.
that 10 and 20, 30 minute, however long that high is, guess what? You're gonna be back in that same stupor. So
Yeah.
instead of finding these temporary solutions to make you feel good, try to do a more permanent fix. And counseling and therapy. And I know people say counseling and therapy because one thing about counseling and therapy, I've called plenty of times for relatives. The people are rude as hell. You get to run around. So it's not really cut and dry where you can just go and get help. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You really have to do your research.
yeah.
And I don't know who are going through this, or if somebody knows something, or know anyone that's going through this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to provide this here, um, a hotline number. So if you know anyone, or if you have questions or anything, there's a website that you guys can go to, and there's a number. I'm gonna leave this up for the remainder of the stream. That way, if you guys need to write the number down or go on the website to get more information, is readily available to you here. Um, Another thing I want to piggyback on is you said something about the drug programs. We don't have. I remember those dare programs. You remember it used to be the dog, and they used to have a black T-shirt, and or what was his name, Scruff McGruff. Say no to drugs. I've never even seen a. I can't tell you the last time I even seen a no drug commercial or advertisement.
Yeah.
I've seen a no drug advertisement. I can't remember what freeway I was off, uh, but they had the tape across the mouth.
Hmm.
Maybe it was no drinking and driving. Maybe that was what it was. But I don't. I haven't seen one recently about weed. No.
I see Derek's post down here. He talks about people are very judgmental, and one of the things that's still in the stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. So, um, I have a family member that struggles with substance, and one of the things that we've dealt with as a family was seeing that where trusting that they're clean or trying to get clean, which they probably are, but struggle. And you end up putting yourself at risk to be taken advantage of, and having theft. So it is a process when you're dealing with someone closely, who's dealing with substance abuse, depending on what the substance is, and how far they have been dealing with the drugs. because some people they just use, you know what I mean, and they just have to have it. They're not, they kind of stay to themselves, but some people are at a point where they'll do anything to get it, and they are in need of a rehabilitation program of some sort, and it is true that people are judgmental, you know what I mean, and there are people out here that will be able to step outside of themselves and be able to hear what's going on and have a heart for people that are going through different things. But that's, unfortunately, that's not going to be everyone, and you're going to have to, go to some places you're just not going to feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Just me as a gay man, some places are just not going to be respectful to me. You know what I mean? Or not going to be welcoming to me. And I have to go and find services that is comfortable for me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And, it's going to be the best for me. Just like, I kind of have a preference of, you know, a doctor that looks like me, somebody that's going to, have the history, and know a little bit more about what I need to do for my health, to avoid diabetes and, to try to break those, traumas and things like that. So it's just those kind of things. You are going to have to find people that are, going to be open minded for you and not judgmental and tear you apart.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm gonna be honest. When I was dealing with my sister, when she was going back and forth with her drug abuse, her addiction, her sobriety, I was very judgmental because
Hmm.
to me, it's like, you sitting up here, you doing things that you shouldn't be doing. To me, I'm like, just get off of it. Why are you doing it? But that's easily said than done because
Yes.
Yeah.
Period.
once you become an addict, it become a disease.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
A disease with a disease, you have to be cured from that. That's not
Mm-hmm.
Right.
some things you can't go cold turkey, and that's heroin. I can remember the sad thing about it is when you're on heroin, you need that to function.
Yep.
I
Hmm.
remember getting ready for a family member's funeral, and the only way to get my sister even up was to find her heroin. She needed it was no other way to she was sick, throwing up, and we like, oh, you have to go because I believe it was like our grandmother or somebody's. I think she had lost her daughter or something or whatever it was. It was someone close to us, and she said the only way I can get up is if I can go get drugs.
Wow.
And literally, we had to give her money to whatever go to get that. And when I tell you, she was sick and everything, the minute she got that heroin, it was like nothing ever happened. She was up moving, she got dressed, put a little makeup on, and was ready to like it was really, really it was bizarre, but it was really interesting. And I felt bad because I think had I been a little more open, I think at the end I was a little more open because at first I didn't understand it, or I should say I didn't care to understand it because I was angry. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
was I was so wrapped up in my emotions and my feelings, and didn't even care about the feelings of her. Because to me, I'm like, oh, this you can stop doing that, but you can't. Some things you cannot cut cold turkey because you would die. Even in hospitals, they keep morphine and stuff on carts
Yeah.
for patients that um, drink a lot. They keep small liquors on the cart for them.
Yeah.
And my sister used to work in pharmacy, so she know they have liquor because if, like you said, when you stop doing that liquor, you can die because
Yeah.
your body needs it. And I think we need to stop being judgmental and to be a little more understanding and learn. But again, I don't care what you do, how much you do, until that person have their mind made up.
Hmm.
They have to want the help too. They have to
Yeah.
want.
And sometimes it's not people being judgmental. Sometimes it's people not wanting to hear the truth. So you know when you doing things you don't have any business doing, or when you're not necessarily, I don't want to say doing, you don't have any business doing, because that sounds like you're a kid. But when you're doing things to harm yourself, or that you know and I know is going to bring you harm, and I'm suggesting or I'm giving you direction, a lot of time people don't want to hear that because it goes against what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So now, you know, you're combating with me about trying to justify why you're doing it. And then in return, you're saying, I'm judging you. Well, I'm not
Hmm.
judging you if you're on drugs and you're driving, and or potentially you could kill someone or
Mm-hmm.
somebody else. So you need to stop driving high or driving drunk. I'm not
Yeah,
judging you. I'm telling you, these are facts. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not judging you if I'm saying you have children to take care of and you need to
Mhm.
get some help so that you can raise your children and you can be healthy for your children and be a good father or a good mother. I'm not judging you. I'm stating
Yeah.
facts.
Do
So
you guys have any
that's the
addictions?
difference. Huh?
Do you guys have any addictions?
I did. I actually
Ooh.
had a food addiction. I used like I had a food like I was battling depression, and because I didn't,
Hmm.
I'm thinking it was an addiction because I didn't smoke. I'm not a big drinker, I don't drink every day.
Hmm.
But an addiction is an addiction.
Right.
And I had a food addiction. I gained almost 340 something, almost 340 some pounds, and I had to do something about it. I realized like, listen, I was a functional, I guess you would call a functional
A
depressed.
foodie.
Well, yeah,
Foodie.
I was a depressed foodie. I was literally eating because I felt sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really like that's how I dealt with certain things. It's like, okay, you know what? Ooh, these hot Cheetos and this ice cream and this Whopper gonna make me feel good. And it did make me feel good at that moment in time. And then after that, I started like feeling hopeless, and guess what? I started again. So and then guess what? That contribute to a lot of weight gain. Now, I'm 86 pounds down,
Hey.
but it's
Right.
still there. Like, but one thing that I do know is that I know when I get to a certain place to go talk to somebody. Like, I'm a
Hmm.
big advocate for that. Like, I kind of know, like, you know, when I get to that place, and to me, it's a dark place. Whereas some people may do drugs, some people may drink. For me, it's that eating.
Mine's sugar, man.
Really,
Sugar, man. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like that's the reason why. Like I once was like judgmental too, and kind of like was like, why don't you just stop? Like
wait
what?
a minute.
I mean, like
The person
sugar,
that owns a cake company.
sugar. Now, okay. So here's the thing: is like I've always been on and off with. Like every year, I would watch a documentary on sugar, the same documentary every single year, just to kind of remind myself on how addicting sugar is. So therefore, that could be like my motivation to kind of just be mindful of what I'm consuming in sugar. And within this last year, I've struggled so bad. Like it's like I fiend it. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, it's like I fiend it, and it's so fat, it's so embarrassing. But at the end of the day, like I literally be struggling. Like I was at my doctor, I said, "Look, something got to give. Is it a pill that make me not crave sugar? Like what is it? Is it a probiotic? Is it a prebiotic? Like what do I need to take to literally not crave this? Because it's kind of like I feel weak until I get it. Then I'm like I'm ready to go. Like literally. But the power of sugar, the endorphins and everything that it releases when you
It's
get
crazy.
it,
It's crazy. And it's when
it's
you,
equivalent to a drug.
yeah. So I can kind of,
Equivalent to a drug.
I used to get out my bed at 4 in the morning to go get a pop, like, well, you guys probably call it soda. We call it pop. We up north. And I would literally get out my bed to go get a Coca Cola. So I can only think the mindset that I had from drinking pop and my addiction to pop. I
Mhm.
can only understand. It put me in the mindset to understand the addiction of a drug. Well, here it is now. I drink sugar free. It's just, to me, it's just that I don't know. It's different, but again, yeah, it's addictive. What are some of your addictions, Shay?
Shopping.
Is it? I'm talking about shop. I'm talking about not just shopping because you shop. Does it mentally do something to you when you don't shop or do shop?
Yes, yes. Like I haven't bought anything for myself. Well, just recently I spent some money, and I mean, I just went on this rampage where I was just spending money, and it was crazy. And I told you last year I ran my I have a bank account where it kind of gives you a snapshot of what you spend monthly, weekly, and in 3 months I spent $32,000, and it was all pretty
Wait,
much
you spent what
shopping. 32,000
in 2 months?
3 months.
Three. Wow.
Yep. And I mean, literally, when I went down the list of stuff that I was buying, it was so much stupid stuff. I just told you this is the first time ever that my closet looks this horrible. My closet, I have no space to hang up anything, shoes, belts, hat, shirt. It's just no space. I've ran out of all the space that I could possibly create in my closet. And I realized I had an issue. And I don't know. I think
What contribute to that?
my
What?
mom's death. I think it's just keeping me consumed in my head. Just I don't know. I can't sit still. I can't be quiet. I have to be doing something. So I gotta get up and go to the mall. I gotta get on the internet. I gotta look up stuff. And I'm just buying, buying, buying. And I gotta stop. So I disconnected from that automatic shipping that I have for clothes. And I said that I was going to watch my spending, and I gave myself an allowance each month where if I spend this certain amount, I can't get anything else. I'm not taking it from myself. I just broke up my checks into 3 different accounts where I don't get all of my money in one account anymore. My Chase account, I don't have a debit card to it, so I can't go in there. My credit union, I don't have a debit card to it, so I can't go in there. So only thing I got to spend is what comes in this account. Other than that, I don't have it. But that is a serious addiction. And it caused me a lot of issues because I was getting into it with my girlfriend about tons of packages just coming to the house. And I had no clue. I bought a car on the internet in the middle of the night. Like it's just this impulsiveness where I ordered this car and it was just, I just did it. So it's really something that I need help. I need help with. And I talk to my therapist about it now because it's a serious addiction and I don't know how to get it, stop doing it.
Your dad said at some point you have to face what you're running from. That's going to be part of your healing.
Yeah, well, definitely.
And Derek said heroin and fentanyl are totally two different drugs. Heroin is out your system in 3 days. You would not start going to withdrawals until a week after your last dose of using fentanyl. It literally gets in your bones and start deteriorating. Wow. That's really messed up. What is, and so a lot. So what about the people who have surgeries and so they using the drugs to get better for pain and then they get addicted? Mm-hmm. How do one? It was saying that
your doctor should be monitoring that. And that, McCullen got surgery. My baby, he got surgery last year on his hand. And what was that strong
morphine?
Morphine?
Probably Percocet.
It's either Percocet. What's another one?
Vicodin.
Is it codeine or codeine?
I think it's codeine.
Oh, Oxycontin.
Oxycontin. That's what they gave him. They gave him Oxycontins. He's a 19-year-old. Why would you give a 19-year-old Oxycontins for hand surgery? I was like, if you don't give me them damn pills, you're not taking them. You can take some Motrin. You'll be okay. You're not taking these Oxycontins. But it's just like they are feeding this stuff to us. And if you don't pay attention, you'll be addicted to it. But your doctor should know what to give you and what not to give you. And he or she should be talking to you about these drugs. You're not going to give me Oxycontin. You're not. I don't care what surgery I have. You're not giving it to me. because I don't want to be addicted to it. I'm just gonna have to go through the pain, pray, get some massages, and I'll figure it out. But I'm not doing that. I'm just not.
So you think a lot of addiction is because of the healthcare professionals?
Most definitely. I blame 80% of our community being strung out on drugs because of the medical field. It's money in it, and at the end of the day, it's a way to kill off our people still. It's an easier way. This is my personal opinion, and I don't think everybody doesn't have to agree with it, but I think it's some undercover stuff going on, because there's no way, if you think about it, 10 years ago, no doctor in the United States would have given a 19-year-old Oxycontin for a surgery on his hand. No doctor.
I remember, it's crazy. I remember having a procedure done probably like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago. And they put me on propofol. This was right after Michael Jackson died and everything. And when I tell you, that's the only narcotic medication that as soon as they take you off, you yourself. Most anesthesias, you feel groggy after it. My procedure was like literally 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I had to just do a scope. But when I tell you, when I woke up, it felt like I had been asleep for 5 years. And honest to God, when I got home, I got irritated because I yearned for that sleep like that.
Wow.
I yearned for, it's like, damn, like I woke up feeling like I was a new person.
Yeah.
So I can understand how
Michael Jackson was
because
craving that.
That anesthesia that he was taking, it's only used in surgeries, and like when women have their C-sections, that drug is closely monitored. They have.
I was getting ready to say, I remember going to sleep after I had McCullen. I swear that is the best sleep in the world. You literally feel like you've been asleep for years.
Yeah.
You do.
And then when you don't have it, like if you take it and stuff like that, if you it makes you feel like, damn, I want to get back to that sleep. So it's just crazy, and we just gotta be careful. I think at the end of the day, like Sharon said, for our parents to have these young minor kids, you have to talk to your kids. Don't let these doctors prescribe you any and everything.
No.
You need to look and say, oh no. Don't do that. I thank God that my doctor he's aware of that. Like like when you talk, one of my things is because addiction runs in the family, I'm scared to take pills and medication. But because I have anxiety, there's a lot of anxiety medication that people be on that have them like zombies. I said, listen, I don't want nothing that's going to remotely get me addicted. I want something I can take as is or when I need to. I don't want something that I'm dependent on something.
Yeah.
I need zombie-ish and all that. I don't want that. And my doctor have done that. He like, no, I'm not going to give you this because it's too strong. And he say, well, this is addictive, but it works. But do you want to try the very low dose? I'm like, nope, because to me, because of addictive personalities in the family, also my addiction to food, I still have addictive behavior. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't sometimes know what it's going to take to get you to say, I'm like, no, I don't want that stuff. I don't mess around with it. And we just got to be a little more careful and quit smoking after people.
So you better say it.
Quit drinking after. Quit smoking everybody's weed and quit doing all this stuff. And y'all got to be a little more mindful. We actually at the tip of the hour, and I think I want to do a part 2 because I want to have this young lady on here that's a recovering addict who was on drugs for 20 years. I want to see if I can get her on, and also want to get a counselor that can actually dive deep into it. So we greatly appreciate you guys, and also too, thank you for being patient with us, for coming on later, and we greatly appreciate you guys. If you or anybody is struggling with addiction, please call the hotline number that you see across the screen. That's 1-800-662 4357, or go to samhsa.gov, where you can, it's a lot of tons of information on there, agency helps, everything that you need. So call that hotline, 1-800-662-4357. Close us out, Shay. What do you want to leave the people with?
What you're going through is preparation, not a punishment. The universe is getting you ready for the next phase, and it's going to be amazing.
I like that. What about you, Terrell?
Um, I have an anxiety disorder. I've been dealing with it for over 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to say is for you guys who are dealing with panic attacks, anxiety attacks, not knowing, where this energy and feeling is coming from. There are groups out here on Facebook that I feel like are very, very helpful
Yeah,
to
thank
be
you.
amongst people who are experiencing the same things that you're experiencing. Because sometimes, like with an anxiety disorder, it's really all in your mind. And you start to develop symptoms and things like that. And you go to the doctor and they say, hey, you're just fine. And you tell people, and people don't really understand how serious it is because they can't understand it. Sometimes you got to get around people that are dealing with the same things that you're going through. So I highly recommend, social groups and, getting that kind of community.
Thank you for that information.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, it can be beneficial to a lot of people out here. I just want to tell people, protect your peace. You know, don't be afraid to talk to someone. Um, you only a coward for not talking to someone. Oftentimes they make you, in our community, we deem the coward or a wuss because you go talk to someone, or they deem you as crazy because you go talk to a therapist. No, you a coward for not going to get help.
Yeah.
Go get help. Help is readily available. They have programs out there for people without insurance. So it's really no excuse. The only excuse is yourself. It's only you that's stopping you from being better. And I've had helped people. I have had family members with this. I'm not a drug expert or nothing, but if you need me, you can always reach out to me, DM me. I'll do my best to research information, but to help you, because I want to. At the end of the day, I want to see everybody win, and you guys got this. There is light at the end of the tunnel, so don't
Absolutely.
ever forget it. I appreciate you guys for
Thanks,
jumping on.
Derek.
Thanks, Derek. I appreciate all of you. What's up, Peter? What's going on, Des? Everyone, thank you all for coming in and supporting us. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you're on Facebook, please, guys, share this live. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Click that thumbs up, and we appreciate it. Until next time.
Hold on. Is this Peter? Peter?
Yeah, that's Peter.
Oh, wow. Hey, Peter. Okay.
So until next time,
All right.
come see us
Peace.
Wednesday. Our original time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. All right, guys. Love you. Take care. We out.